Ken Houston coming up from his strong safety spot.
Frank told you about that man's intercollegiate career at Texas. He's another who's played with pain and with courage, needing knee surgery, as he has a couple of times, as he has had.
He had that remarkable record of 2,900 yards plus at Texas and did not play hardly at all his senior year. There's a little less than a yard to go. Joe Theismann warming up the sidelines for the Redskins. Two tight ends are in on the short yardage offense. Dowdy is in motion. Leaks gets the call. Coughs it up.
I think they recover.
Baltimore has it. It'll be fourth down.
I think that's an alert move by Jones, who saw that fumble, jumped back on it in a hurry. There you shot of Joe Theismann on the sideline.
I suspect he'll be in there.
Well, he's tying it up pretty tightly. David Lee will drop back to punt. Tony Green positions himself at his own 45-yard line. 10 men again at the line of scrimmage for Washington. And Lee again had to kick one quickly, kicked it high. Fair catch called for and made in Colt territory at the 48-yard line. John McDaniel pressuring David Lee. Washington will have good field position when we come back.
Oklahoma, Nebraska, one of the really big games of the year. Oklahoma currently rated #1. Must keep winning to retain that rating and win the national championship, and must keep winning to get the bid as the Big 8 representative to the Orange Bowl. And a remarkable ball carrier, Billy Sims, contending for Heisman Trophy selection, has had 3 straight better than 200-yard games. And here is Joe Theismann, and here is the Gipper.
Theismann, who started the first 8 games, won the first 6, then lost the last 2, has been the ball game. Hands off to Mike Thomas to get the feel of it. Thomas goes down in the arms of Ed Simonini. Dave Rode at the bottom of that pile along with number 71. That's Mike Ozdowski.
You just knew Theismann would be sent in there if, as I said, Kilmer couldn't move the team in that initial series of downs. He did via the ground for a first down on Thomas's great run, but Billy had connected for only 2 passes out of 11, a total of 38 yards, had 2 intercepts.
Theismann, 47% of his passes complete, 10 interceptions, 10 touchdowns. Fires into the arms of number 86, John McDaniels. No, out of bounds.
Bruce Laird is really responsible for that incompletion, because I think
he pelted him.
Yeah, I think McDaniels would have held on, but Laird was right there, and
ball was well thrown, Don.
It was well thrown.
It'll be 3rd down and 9.
There's Billy, great 39-year-old veteran that he is. He can reconcile to what happened tonight, and he's not out of there for the night yet. We may see more of him.
The man with the headset was Joe Walton. He calls the offensive plays for the Washington Redskins. He's the offensive coordinator. 3rd down and 9 to Theismann. Single setback, it's Riggins. Theismann scrambling, dumps it off to Danny Buggs. No, was out of bounds.
Oh, that was...
As you can see, there's a difference of opinion on that play. And
Getty Kayak saying, let's just cool it down here a little bit.
McDaniel is pointing up the field, and we have another officials conference.
One official called it out of bounds. Another one stepped in
and said it was good.
With the referee, Red Caution, he'll have to make the decision.
Always flip a coin.
Look at it. With Danny Buggs, the receiver, keep in mind he must come down both feet inbounds.
It's an incomplete pass.
Oh, yeah.
What's the question?
There is none. Incomplete.
Wait a minute. One.
Well, this week's television guide has an argument Shibroda doesn't want to use instant replays. George Allen does. It's a very topical time for the subject after that one.
Fourth down.
I can understand Teddy not wanting the instant replays.
Mike Bragg will punt.
Back to punt.
Pete Marshall Johnson, number 80. Joe Washington, number 20.
Oh,
Yeah.
Mike Bragg with a fine kick, angling for the corner. And it took a Baltimore bounce and goes into the end zone touchback.
It really did, didn't it? That thing looked like it was going out of bounds. It kicked right in the end zone.
It looked like he had a beauty. Didn't work out that way, and Baltimore will have a 1st and 10 at their 20-yard line. 5 minutes, 27 seconds remaining in the third quarter. Baltimore over Washington 14-10. Mike Bragg's punt into the end zone. Touchback, Baltimore 1st and 10, their own 20. Jones going for Washington, and it's just off his fingertips.
I just love to see that Jones throw that football. I mean, right there on a dime, just off his fingertips, but how he can throw. Incidentally, Frank, during the course of the game, the fans might note the absence when Baltimore's on defense of number 63, Mike Barnes, a great football player. Sprained knee, and it's not likely he'll be seen again tonight. That's at least the report we get.
They've had their share of problems. I mentioned earlier they lost both of their starting tackles before the season began. David Taylor on the left side, the great George Coons on the right. Both gone for the season. 2nd down 10. Draw play. Roosevelt leaks. Runs into a crowd, principally a big man by the name of Dave Bunch, number 65.
On that last play of Theismann's that was unaccountably ruled incomplete, the pass to Buggs, you saw one of the reasons Kilmer decided to get Theismann in there, because in the manner of Steve Grogan, but perhaps not so efficiently, he gives you, as you look at the graphic on Roosevelt Leaks, that extra dimension. He was able to get out of deep trouble and finally, rolling right, able to throw the pass.
3rd down 10. Dowdy goes left, Carr is out to the right. Jones looking for Carr. He'll have to run the ball, and he's piled up short of the 1st down. And every time he takes off the ball, you have to wonder about his shoulder.
He's hurt again.
Obviously weak, and he is slow getting up.
Just what Frank was talking about. Oh. Look at that. Look at the way he's holding that right arm and shoulder, Don.
Well, we talked last night, and he said, you know, I really shouldn't be playing. And I said, well, why are you? He said, you know, there was another separation. They call it a shoulder bruise, said it was slightly separated. And that's just, you can tell. I said, well, why are you doing it, Bert? He said, well, I just, you know, I want to play, and I think that I can give them kind of a spark that we're going to do it. I said, you're running a risk, though,
of permanently damaging that shoulder.
And we were talking about shoulder operations. He doesn't want to have it operated. I had my shoulder operated a couple of times, and he says, I'm really trying to prevent that and play myself back into shape.
I'll tell you in a minute who faces.
David Lee will punt for Baltimore. Tony Green is deep, and the backup quarterback, Bill Troop, has a broken hand, so we will see young Mike Kirkland if Jones cannot come back. But this is Tony Green. And a roused up Baltimore special teams unit headed by Sanders Shiver hustles down there, and Washington will start at their 25-yard line.
Aroused is the word, and speaking of damaged shoulders, he doesn't want to have it operating on, you say. O.J. Simpson suffered a very severe separation of his right shoulder, ligament damage involved. He'll be out 3 to 8 weeks. It was his option to have surgery. He decided against it for the time being. Surgery would mean at least 8 weeks. Without, if he heals rapidly, he could be back in 3 weeks.
Progress marked at the 27. The Redskins have the ball. Theismann is the quarterback. Fake reverse to Buggs.
Oh, nobody there.
Wide open is Mike Thomas. And Thomas all the way down to the 38-yard line of the Baltimore Colts.
It was a nice play, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It really was, and Theismann is giving them the life that Pardee wanted.
Should have given Kilmer that.
Yeah, let Kilmer run that play. always have to suspect with a play like this that somebody missed a play, a defensive assignment. And I would guess that probably happened that time because Mike Thomas was the first back out, and nobody picked him up.
Pickup of 35 yards, first down, 38-yard line of Baltimore. Baltimore leading 14-10. This is Riggins.
Hey, good play.
Oh, Norm Thompson.
Thompson stripped the blocker.
Yep.
And Blackwood came over.
And Riggins gets 3. It'll be second down and 7.
You're right about Blackwood, Don. He's a hitter. Oh, Jones is feeling pain. You can see it etched in his face.
Grimace.
Well, Don, you've had a separation and the resulting surgery. I've had a partial. There was no way to describe how that feels.
That's really true.
Our producer, Denny Lewin, also had one. He says, I agree. Second and 7. Wide open is Buggs.
Yes, sir.
Buggs down to the 15-yard line. Corralled there by Lyle Blackwood. First down, Washington at the 15.
Oh, that's the very pattern Kilmer used successfully to Buggs for a touchdown against San Francisco.
It starts right here because he's got plenty of time to throw. Nobody there. That might have something to do with Mike Barnes being out. We talked about a while ago. Rowe is in there. A good pattern. Buggs is not doing anything really that tricky. It's just a down and across pattern. The ball's thrown right in there.
You know, he doesn't look like he moves that quickly, but he was a 9.5 sprinter in West Virginia, and he can really move across that middle quickly.
He wears ugly shoes.
Mike Thomas.
Oh, good move, Mike Thomas.
And Thomas gets away from one tackle, picks up a yard. It'll be second down and 9.
Mike Kirkland warming up. The youngster whom we saw in the opening game of this year's Monday Night Football schedule. When Burt Jones was injured and Bill Troop, the ordinary backup man, was injured, and Bill Troop is injured again. So for Ted Marcia-Broda, a long season of trying to struggle and hold the team together with the quarterbacks on the sideline.
Second down, 9. Bosman wants Buggs, and he's knocked off by Norm Thompson.
Oh, that was a...
Buggs. At first, I thought they were going to exchange blows, and suddenly they're embracing each other.
You know, it's so hard for a defensive back that's been around for any length of time to adapt to these rules, where you cannot hit that receiver when he's 5 yards downfield, because when you've been around like Norm has for 7 or 8 years, you're just used to hitting a man, particularly when you get down around the goal line.
Well, I'm sure we'll get another look at it, won't we?
Pass interference going against Norm Thompson. Ball, as you can see, placed on the 1-yard line. It's first down and goal. Riggins. Washington touchdown. They take the lead.
All the times they are a-changing.
John Riggins scores from 1 yard out. Washington has the lead once again.
Big hole over there. Nice blocks.
Ron Soule, number 64, another fine block. Mark Mosley is Burt Jones now down in front of our booth, is warming up. You see how that arm is.
I think his face registers how it is.
Mark Mosley builds the conversion. And Washington back out in front.
Don't forget, folks, this Sunday night, a special Sunday night edition of Monday Night Football, the place, the Los Angeles Memorial Coliseum, as Burt keeps testing that damaged shoulder. And what a game. The Pittsburgh Steelers, with the best record in the league at 9-1 against the Los Angeles Rams, who have the second best record in the league at 8-2, which Washington could tie with a victory tonight. So that's a showdown game. And then on Monday night, Oakland, now tied with Denver in the AFC West at 6-4, goes against the Bengals, who are not a chump team despite their pallid record.
Seattle is threatening. And Seattle is threatening. Indeed they are.
Look at there they are, the wounded ones of the Baltimore Colts.
All they need is a fife and drum.
Bill
Washington will kick off, and we think it's going to still be Burt Jones. He was throwing the ball, chuckling, laughing with Ted Marchibroda, and it could be that he will go back in.
Bill Beck tried the fife and drum routine opening day in Comiskey Park 2 years ago, remember?
Well, as he kicks, Johnson is deep along with Washington, but this is short and taken by Johnson. And Johnson with a good return out to the 34-yard line. And Burt Jones comes back. Well, they must have determined that just the pain that goes with a shoulder separation. They must have determined that it could not be seriously damaged by him going back.
Well, I hope that's what they've determined. I would hate to see that great an athlete take a career risk.
Field position, 34-yard line. Baltimore now trailing by 3 points. Jones slow pulling away to the center, hands off to Washington, who gets out over the 35.
He fell and hurt it again.
Slipped coming away from the center, and
Don, don't you think at the very least he'll grow tentative about throwing?
I don't know how, if it's hurting that bad as it looks right now, I wouldn't be out there. So you've got to just try to guess whether it really is hurting that bad, or, some folks handle pain differently than others.
liable to uncork one about 50. Second down and 8.
If he does, Frank, you never can trust him the rest of your life.
Dumps it off to Washington, gets the open field, gets the first down in the grasp of Chris Hamburger.
The thing is, he scares the daylights out of that secondary just by being out there. They're all laying back in rocking chairs, and he dumped that off just perfect.
Final seconds ticking off here in the third quarter. There it is. You're watching another exclusive of ABC Sports. That's the end of the third quarter. The score, Washington 17, Baltimore 14. We'll return with the fourth quarter in just a moment.